Good evening, Lester, or good morning from Seoul, where we are just about 30 miles from one of the most dangerous borders in the world. The president here is choosing his words carefully so far, firm but measured. Standing in North Korea's backyard, a president who rarely pulls punches did.
Yes, I think we're making a lot of progress.
In South Korea, what President Trump's not saying is nearly important as what he is. Remember this recent rhetoric?
With fire and fury.
Rocket Man, totally destroy North Korea.
That talk toned down here, replaced by a willingness, apparently, to negotiate with Pyongyang. Call it art of the deal diplomacy.
I really believe that it makes sense for North Korea to come to the table and to make a deal.
That comment comes some 6 weeks after President Trump tweeted his Secretary of State is wasting his time trying to talk with North Korea. Rex Tillerson in the front row overnight.
We can all invite North Korea back to talks, but if they don't want to come, there's not a lot that we can do about that. It's North Korea's choice. I mean, they can choose to continue to pursue nuclear weapons, or they can realize that that path will only lead to a more insecure country.
Unlike some predecessors, President Trump skipping a visit to the demilitarized zone, a senior administration official calling it cliche after Tillerson and the vice president visited. Still, the president's flexing military muscle, pointing out the show of strength off the coast of the Korean peninsula, 3 carriers and a submarine.
We have many things happening that we hope, in fact, I'll go a step further. We hope to God we never have to use.
The message, the U.S. ready but reluctant. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, Seoul.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.